The town council meeting underway for April 22nd. We'll begin with an invocation by Brad.
Let's stand up and we'll pledge after. God, it's good to be here tonight. Thank you for the great place we live, the good people of our town, the solid leadership by our staff, and the service by our officials. May we honor you tonight with our conversation, our thinking, and our thoughts, and our decisions. In Christ's name, amen. Amen.
A pledge of allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All righty, we'll call the meeting to order. And public comments? None. Anybody from the audience forget to sign up, want to speak? Good. Consent agenda? Any questions or comments from the council?
No comments from me.
How do you want to go?
Potential development. Move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Unanimous. Next up, agenda approval. A couple of changes to the agenda. Alex, do you remember, have them ready?
Yes, sir. The first one is, would ask as the last agenda item, or really as 5A, discussion and a potential decision on the optional budget meetings. And then Ms. Wadowitz, I believe, Councilmember Wadowitz had a request to add a closed session for attorney-client and personnel. Aaron, do you have those statutory numbers, please?
143-318, 11A.
Okay, is that still right, Ms. Wadowitz? You good, Dad? Okay.
That would be 5B.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Any other changes?
No, sir.
All right.
Move approval of the agenda with the addition of item 5A, optional budget meeting discussion and closed session pursuant to statute. You didn't write it down.
No. As
143-318, 11A, 3, and 6.
that was a lot of.
Second.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Approved. Next up, Max. Would you like to lead us in this text amendment, please?
And the applicant is here as well. So this is text amendment TX 240301. It's for nicotine delivery products production. The Pouch Factory submitted a text amendment to the town of Stallings to amend the table of uses to request nicotine delivery products production as a L-listed use in the industrial zoning district. The industrial zoning district is primarily within the Matthews Indian Trail and Gribble Road and Union West Business Park area. So that's, if you can imagine what they're requesting, these are the areas that this would be allowed in. Industrial zoning, was established to provide areas of industrial uses, a location to locate, and protects the community from being next to industrial next to residential uses, and the primary uses in the zoning district are manufacturing, warehouse, and storage. And Planning Board heard this item on March 19th, and they did recommend approval. Staff researched this text amendment, and we see that there's a potential to increase economic opportunities within the town, according to the Economic Development Plan. And so staff recommends approval of TX 240301. Do you have any questions for staff?
Of course I do. Come on.
Of course.
Number one, I did not get to do all my research that I normally like to do on these items. So I'm a little hesitant about making an approval tonight. And on top of that, one of the questions that I had is that nicotine was originally designated and still is as a biohazard by the federal government. In 2019, there was a new act basically that was changed, and North Carolina adopted what is called Subpart P, and it directly discusses the handling and manufacturing and some of the details for nicotine pouches specifically. And I did not get to read through that 100%. And so I was hoping Melanie might be able to kind of give us a little bit of information on subpart 15 as how it associates with nicotine production. And then also, can you translate it to English for us? Okay,
So, so kind of on the spot tonight, I'll be happy to research it and
okay.
I've never read it, so I don't.
Well, I know in that there, they make references to high production numbers versus low production numbers, but I never got into the part where the bill was told what the difference between them two was. And then, and the reason why I'm somewhat concerned about this text amendment is because in that subpart P, that North Carolina law kind of brought forth, there is some limitations on where production can be at when it's related to other types of facilities. And so, my concern would be is that if we, without fully understanding that subpart P, could we inadvertently be breaking federal law by allowing production of nicotine within a area that might not, at federal level, allow it?
When we open the public hearing, the applicant recess it to the next meeting to instruct me and staff.
Okay. Okay. And then the other question that I had is that, I mean, I simply kind of wanted to just, I mean, I'm glad that they had a book. I mean, when I tried to do research on the company, there was virtually nothing on the internet about this company. And so that, of course, always makes me a little cautious at the fact that it was being presented to us. So maybe they can kind of give us a little bit about their history and whether this is brand new or something like that there. Just,
Yeah, do you have any zoning questions for me? Because I think
no,
most of the
no,
questions you have.
I'm good.
Yeah,
I mean, a
okay.
lot of that was just that
No, I just,
I
sorry, I
wanna-
didn't mean to, like,
the biggest part for me is that this impacts every industrial area. And on the surface of it, the concern would be is that we are allowing something that may not be allowable based on the subpart B requirements of a biohazard, something that's considered a biohazard under federal law. And so that would be my concern, is that could be breaking federal law by allowing something that's not legal within the boundaries. And it may not be. I just, without Melanie saying so, I'm not a lawyer, and she's told me many times that I would suck as a lawyer. And so, so I don't want to take my interpretation about what I read that would be just my opinion.
so I would say I did not research federal law before this text amendment coming forth to council.
Okay.
And so I would defer those questions to the applicant.
Okay.
I guess I will have the zoning question.
Okay, go
Do
ahead.
you have any question?
It is a zoning question, it just a
It is,
roundabout.
it's a good one, actually. So if we granted this text amendment, what level of oversight would we have? I mean, once it's in, that they
So-
can do it right?
Yeah, so for example, I think the applicant, this is not a site-specific zoning, this is gonna affect all industrial properties, but I think the applicant has a already built property in mind. I think the only thing that we would require for them is since it's already an industrial property, just to get a use permit, make sure the use is allowed in the zoning category, and then any other small sign permits or upfit permits for interior renovation, and that would be what the town of Stallings' involvement would be. We wouldn't be overseeing their production or anything, we're just doing general permits.
Okay, so
I think that would
What-
lie on the federal government.
all right,
more
so like we don't really do anything once if someone who has a use that it fits within the approved
Get their
uses.
permits through the town, and then there possibly could be some county oversight. For example, like, we don't have a building inspections department, and so they oversee the building side of that. We just see the zoning. I'm checking the site plan usually, making sure that it fits in our zoning. But there's no periodic inspection that I would perform after they get those permits.
And then along that lines, I know with like conditional zoning, we have a lot more oversight. Like we can require certain things. Can we do a conditional zoning? Or could that be an avenue with an industrial, within the industrial?
So this is
Area.
a text amendment, so I would say, I think what council could do is have, if they wanted to allow this, or if they wanted to allow, recommend conditions, they would have to allow the use with supplemental regulations, kind of like how we have outdoor storage as a supplemental regulation in certain zoning districts. So for example, you have to have 3 acres now in industrial or 5 acres in certain zoning categories if you want to locate there. If council so chooses, staff could research some additional supplemental regulations to add upon this use. For example, it could be like S 10 point whatever, and then the supplemental regulation says follows all federal statutes, or something similar to that effect, or whatever council chooses they would like to add to that.
And maybe that would be would be suffice for the questions I had.
Does that help answer your question?
Yes,
It's
it
not a
does.
conditional zoning because it's not site specific. It's just a general, affects all the industrial
Yep.
zoning. With the, yeah.
Well, I think we need to hear from the applicant, but the only zoning question I have is, this is manufacturing, feels like it. And then manufacturing is allowed in industrial districts. So did we, at one point, do you know, prohibit nicotine as a manufacturing use or ability? Or why would it not generally be
Yeah,
allowed as a manufacturing use? I guess that's the nature of my question.
so we don't have a general manufacturing use category
Okay.
in the use table. We have everything separated for all different types of manufacturing, but nothing general. Our use table is very specific.
Okay.
So
We haven't made a decision, in other words, to prohibit beer, wine, distilling,
those are actually already uses that are in the use table.
okay?
The nicotine production,
We just haven't contemplated that being in
Correct.
use because we don't know much about nicotine.
yeah, and then when I had the discussion with the applicant, when they originally came into town hall to discuss it, I didn't feel comfortable that there was a use close enough in our use table
Yeah.
that matches their use, so I requested them to go through a text amendment,
Was there
or I
anything-
recommended a text amendment to them as the simplest solution.
That's all I had.
Ally, may I ask you a question?
Yes,
Agenda doesn't list anything about a public hearing or anything. Is that just an omission?
yes, please.
Do I need to,
Public hearing.
I don't need to do anything else, I can just add it to the thing. All right, we'll open the public hearing.
Would you like the applicant to come up and talk, or do you have any?
Finished.
I am? Yeah, all right, leave it to the applicant.
Good evening. I am John Snyder. I am the Pouch Factory's government relations guy, and I brought a sample of what we will be producing here so you guys can kind of hold it open pop it open and kind of see what the product is. Just so. So the Pouch Factory is, the guys first came to me, some friends of mine referred them to me as a potential, they were looking for a way to import these pouches called snooze, and they're very popular in Europe. And if you do a little bit of Google research, you'll see that smoking is way down in Europe, and those products are one of the things that have kind of helped from countries where smoking was everywhere. It's really brought down the number of people using tobacco at all. And so when we first started talking, we talked about importing, and we talked about the bars to that. And I talked to the guys like, well, why don't you make them in the United States? And so Ludwig is here. He's one of the CEO from Sweden, and we talked about that idea, and so they decided to do it. And then some of you are old friends of mine, so I used to live in Stallings, and I'm like, let's do it here. We looked at other locations in the state, and at the end of the day, Stallings was most attractive because of its proximity for getting in and out of the country, for our exporting needs, whether it's going to be out of Wilmington, Norfolk, or Charleston or Savannah. This is kind of an ideal location with the highway being right there. And then also, I know that 20 years ago, we were trying to get more businesses in town. And so, it's kind of a special project for me to bring things back to where I'm from. So what we'll be doing is, and this will answer some of the questions that I think the Councilmember Ayers brought forward, is we will be putting the, did you drop? It's fine if you dropped one.
No, I don't see.
You can have one if you want. Oh, the pop-off lid.
What's the point
So
of
that
the pop-off lid?
if you're using it and you want to save it for later, you just put it in that. So it's like a way to keep it, so you're, instead of throwing it out and creating waste. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
You know how when you're,
Oh, do we
yeah.
put it in there?
Yeah.
It'd be someone stepping on it.
Yeah.
So it's and that's kind of a standard thing with our packaging. So the process is all of our material will be sourced from United States manufacturers. They're all FDA approved manufacturers. We will not be producing nicotine in-house. So that'll be shipped in. There's a great 176 page bulletin from DEQ about subsection P and P075.
Yep.
So we will conform with all of the waste requirements that the FDA has for handling nicotine. There is no wash as part of our production or manufacturing, so it's and we're having machines custom made in Germany and India being shipped here, and so but there are no emissions. There's no wash, and I think that those are my concerns also as a neighbor and somebody having kids. Like, you don't want to put hazardous waste into the water system or cause any issues. And so they have answered all of those concerns I had just as a local. And so the pouches will be all machine made, and then they'll be shipped out, and they'll be shipped out to Europe and to places to be ordered. There will be no direct consumer sales. I understand from talking to staff that was a concern. We will not be selling direct to a consumer. There is no tobacco as part of it. So one of the upsides of this product is that this helps people move away from cigarettes, tobacco, chewing tobacco, all of that. It's because nicotine does not cause cancer. The carcinogenics in the tobacco is what causes cancer. I researched that because I knew I was gonna be up in front of people who were gonna ask me those questions. So there's a lot of science behind that. May not be the best thing for your heart, but neither are steaks or alcohol. But it is, it's, you know, it's a choice that people make. But it is completely tobacco-free. The nicotine's actually derived from tomato plants. So tomatoes have nicotine in them. And so that's where the crystals that'll get, the composite tobacco or nicotine that we use will be that derived from the tomato plant. The other neat thing that we're gonna be manufacturing there are caffeine pouches. So as people make that transfer away from nicotine, they'll be able to have the same sensation, you know, or, yeah, I guess the oral fixation they talk about with people with smoking, or using smokeless tobacco. This helps wean people all the way off. And so the goal is to have a healthy population that's not polluting, not creating tobacco addiction, not causing cancer, and we're excited about the opportunity to do that here. And the other reason we picked here, it's one of the best places to be. We're able to recruit. We'll end up hiring about 10 people when our lines are all full and up and running. And in about 3 years, we're projecting about 100 million in sales. So it'll be a nice tax base to add to the town, and we plan to be really good neighbors. So I will take any questions at all you guys have.
The text amendment lists specifically nicotine, because it's not part of what exists, but you just mentioned caffeine.
Caffeine would fall into the way I looked at the list of the 250 uses that are on there, that would fit into one of the groceries, or it's a non-FDA. There is a provision for making manufacturing food items, and so caffeine would be right now, unless the FDA does something crazy.
So it doesn't need to be listed separately.
I don't see it being, well, I don't get to make that determination. I see that already being in there, but I trust her a lot more than I trust me.
I haven't researched caffeine production, so I apologize. And I would have to talk to legal as well.
Is this new to you?
I do remember the applicant mentioning it at planning board, and I did not research caffeine production. So what's presented to planning board?
Sorry, what?
If you just give me a few minutes, I can
Do that while Stephen goes into
Yeah, well, yeah. Actually, I
a
was
question.
actually gonna ask,
Left out the word long-winded.
well, I appreciate it,
Question.
but we already knew that. That was implied. Actually, I had a question for legal on the,
She's busy at the moment, so let her do her thing. You have a question for the applicant?
well, that's the thing, is that I don't know if I can ask like applicant the question, because it's one of those,
She and I have a 30-year history, so if I can't answer it, I'll tell you.
oh, okay. I think Max said that you've got a piece of property that's already scoped, so
Yeah.
where is that?
On Gribble Road.
It's on Gribble Road,
Yeah,
so
so-
right over here.
Correct, and so the surrounding uses right now is the millwork, the Land Rover
Okay.
repair, and the, looks like a ship, a dry dock for one of the rental trucks.
So you're right in front of the Duke Power?
In front of the Ironworks, right, the Ironworks is directly across the street, so 3611 Gribble,
So is that further this way?
further that way, yeah.
Farther that way, okay.
No schools, no houses, no,
I'm familiar because my house is right behind that,
okay.
so,
say.
okay.
I have a question about can you explain how this is manufactured? Like what's going in?
Yeah, so basically it's, the machine will roll out medical surgical grade gauze. That's what the white is. And then, it'll drop in the nicotine crystals and then,
For that,
uh,
that's all you're gonna get is nicotine? That's all that's in there? What does that look like?
so it's like, if you cut one of those pouches
Plant
up,
fibers with nicotine.
oh, not even, it would look like salt.
Yeah.
So it'll be a crystal and it'll have flavoring. So that particular flavoring's mint. And then we seal the pouch up and then it lands into the plastic, container.
And so what are you, the nicotine from the tomato plants, it's already in a little,
It already comes, and so we order it from a manufacturer, so to Councilman Ayers' concerns, none of we're not actually making the nicotine on site. So it's coming in sealed,
Everything, packaging, everything's
everything.
coming in.
So there's no worry about effluents, no worry about release into the air with your kids, like, it's all coming in fully contained, and then it goes into the machine fully contained. And then the waste would be like small granulars that would be caught down below the belt to be used. And then whatever waste there is that we can't reuse, then we would do it pursuant to these FDA rules. So we're not actually formulating chemicals. We're merely assembling ingredients they're being brought in from somewhere else. Those ingredients are all being brought in from the United States. So, I have some other clients that I'm working with. We're trying to stop things coming in from China everywhere. And so, right now with the junkie that you can get at these vape shops and all that, none of that's being made in the U.S. And so there's no regulation, there's no oversight. Ours is going to be heavily regulated, heavily compliant, because you can't, it costs too much to mess up. And so there's some integrity in our process. But when I first looked at the uses, I personally didn't think we even needed a text amendment, because I thought there were some other, because we're merely putting things together on site. But I think staff and no problem. Staff thought it would be better to be like, let's make sure there's no question about what you're doing and how you're doing it. So we submitted and said, let's go ahead and make this amendment. But from a concerned side, none of, like, there's no wash, there's no lab, there's, none of the things that, my wife and I have joked for years about whatever the giant manufacturing plant is down the road. I don't know what they make there, but we've always wondered what's going on in that factory. But you won't have that issue here. It's literally, production and an enclosed production at that.
so.
This one up here?
Are we talking about Barry?
Yeah.
They make the stuff that you see pallets, the plastic wrap that goes around pallets.
Always wondered. No, I know.
So if I'm gonna get the little pouch, and I take that pellet-like thing out of the pouch?
Oh, you do?
No, you leave it in.
Yeah.
Yeah, you leave it in.
It stays in your
You
mouth.
just put it in your lip.
Sucking it. It stays like a tobacco used to do.
Like
Like a snuff.
Granny's snuff in the old days.
Oh,
Well, not your granny, but
Yeah,
some people's
That
grannies,
is just
yeah.
right in.
But you just put it between your lip and your gums. But again, it's because there's no tobacco in it, there's no cancer. Like, there's nothing in this that causes cancer. Again, cardiologists may have an issue, but it's not a radiologist or a oncologist.
Why would cardiologists have an issue?
Because nicotine increases your heart rate, so.
Right,
Like
okay.
caffeine?
Pediatricians would also have an issue with
And
this,
pediatrician, yeah.
Yeah.
That's what you said.
because it's a drug.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is at the end of the day a drug. So, did I hear right that local U.S. supplies coming in, assembly, and then it's being shipped out internationally?
Yes. There's
And
a
it-
huge demand for the quality control that the U.S. provides in manufactured products here.
And is it, and do you, would there be any sales in the US or?
Potentially, we don't see any, we don't have any orders or any deals to do that right now.
All right. And looking at it, so this is regulated by the FDA. This is, falls under like the Deming Act, and then from what I'm looking at, no one is approved to do marketing in the US currently under the FDA's rules.
Well, so Atria and so RJR, now that, well, they BT, RJR and Philip Morris under their company name both have approvals. They are not looking to have more people in the market because they don't like competition.
Okay.
But, so Zen, I think Tucker Carlson's the big Zen guy, but Tucker uses a product that's manufactured by Atria, I think, or Philip Morris. He's the more famous user. And
Where's
golf.
this currently happening?
Well, we currently are making in Sweden. So this will be a new, and that's why you're not finding a lot of, this is a new company, kind of a startup for the US.
Yeah, that was one of the concerns that when I did my search on you. Only 3 entries came up, and 2 of them were referencing our town agenda for tonight.
Yeah.
And so it was like,
No, it's a startup,
okay, it is a startup.
a well-capitalized startup, but a startup.
So when you say the US operations are a startup, I mean, or
It's a brand-new company.
it is a brand new
It is a
company?
brand-new company, yeah.
Okay.
So the guys got to me, they had an idea, and the first idea was we'll make them in Sweden and then import them. And then as I started looking at the regulations, I was like, well, why don't we make them in the US?
Okay.
US market's expected to grow though, according to the brochure.
Correct.
So you're gonna not ship them all over there, you're gonna probably be,
Once we have all our licensing and all those things in order, yeah.
how long do you expect that to take, licensing?
Probably at least a year. So we're gonna be up and generating revenue, but, we have to wait while we're doing that.
Kind of ironic, you'll be able to ship it out, but not
Yeah.
within.
Maybe a question for Max. Who chose the words that are in the text amendment language? Nicotine delivery products, or whatever it is.
That was by me, and that's the specific term, that is how the FDA classifies them in their regulations.
Okay.
So we want to be clear, we're not gonna be suddenly making vape products or something, like,
Okay.
it's called a novel oral delivery pouch.
So, yeah, I'm going to the text amendment side of this, not just your specific
Yeah.
use. A question for Max was, do we know if other jurisdictions allow this type of use or tobacco? A quick research says maybe Iredell County allows tobacco manufacturing uses in their zoning district, but that's the only one I could find real quick. Do you have a sense of, are we unusual, or does Charlotte and Mecklenburg allow tobacco nicotine delivery systems and all that?
I'm not aware of the surrounding jurisdictions.
Yeah, I don't want to put you on the spot, I was just curious.
I would say some of their use tables are more general.
Okay, general manufacturing,
Wholesale.
okay,
Or general
yeah.
We don't have a category like that.
Brings up a question as to why we don't. Maybe this is why, I don't know, but I'd like to put that on somebody's schedule to talk about
We may
later.
be able to research amending
Yeah.
to allow.
So then, I know the mayor who's not here voiced some concern about cancer-causing agents being produced in our town. Could you speak to that?
I can, so,
And could you provide any sort of, and I did a little research too,
Right.
so I'm taking you for your word, but I think I saw that as well. Talk about that.
Sure.
And make us feel comfortable that what we would approve, in your case, right? Because I guess nicotine delivery systems could be a cigarette manufacturer who uses tobacco in another.
That's why I
part
went
of
with the
town?
pouch, to limit it to that specific.
The text amendment limits it to a pouch?
Yes, I think it should say pouch on there.
Okay, let's be clear about that. Can we find that?
It does not.
Okay.
Yeah, just talk us through. You
Yeah,
see
yeah,
where I'm
please.
going. I want to understand what the,
Yeah.
That's the,
So I have nicotine delivery products production,
okay,
and I'm going to pull up the text amendment application
okay.
that I have in my files, just so we can all be clear on what was submitted. And it will take just a minute. I apologize, I don't have it up. Currently, I didn't plan on bringing it up tonight. So here's the application. So it was submitted as, okay, I apologize. It was production of novel oral nicotine delivery products.
Are you saying the text amendment that we have in front of us should say novel
Correct. I
oral
think I used
nicotine delivery?
a different language based on my familiarity with the product. I
Right.
made a staff amendment.
That's okay. I'm just trying to get, my question is, if nicotine isn't cancer-causing and burning of tobacco releases the cancer-causing carcinogens, if that's true, and I've read that it is, but I'm not an expert,
Not to burning, it's just.
might we, by approving the text amendment in front of us, okay the production of cancer-causing cigarette manufacturing and cigars in our town, or do we need to be more specific in the wording, and even can we? That's sort of the nature of where I'm
You can amend the wording. So I would say you could tonight say nicotine and caffeine product production, something like that. That would be council's
also
Oh,
choosing.
would throw the word pouch.
Pouch. You could say, you could amend the wording to
I would
fit.
eliminate the cigarette option or possibility. It would add the caffeine, which is, may or may not be included. Cover all those bases.
So maybe production
Narrow
of
it down.
novel
'Cause the-
oral, oh, sorry, I
Because
mean,
the text amendment reads, add nicotine delivery products production. It might want to read nicotine and caffeine delivery pouch production as a listed use.
that would be, as long as council and this applicant's okay with it, I do believe it meets the intent of the text amendment.
Well, isn't Pouch the name of their company?
No, it's
Not, it's
well,
just-
yes,
It's the name of our
yes and
company,
no.
but it denotes what we're making. So we would have no objection to that amendment.
So I would suggest, like you said, let's use their original wording. I think that would clarify a lot of things. I used my wording, I thought I amended it to fit our ordinance, but I think the best case scenario to be to add production of novel oral nicotine and caffeine delivery product, pouch products, something like that. Would council be in agreement with that wording?
All right.
I know. that-
I will voice my only concern with that is, all right, I hate to admit that I did chewing tobacco in high school, and pouches were coming about, which included tobacco at that time. So there was, the wording right now, I could see someone coming before us, or not even coming before us. I could see someone sneaking in through that with a product that has tobacco because it has nicotine.
I think I have a solution. In parentheses afterwards, no tobacco. I know it's a long word, but we have,
Cancer-causing products.
we could say that as well. Yep, we could definitely say that.
Now we're getting complicated, but it.
But I would say, let me type that up,
Oh,
so everybody can agree to that, if that's what council would like to do.
So was couch, pouch, is it couch?
Couch. If you're putting a couch in your mouth,
That's if it gets approved.
you got other problems.
Was, in your, what you were saying
I haven't
before,
approved
you
this.
used the word pouch.
I did,
And I didn't hear Max use it.
I did,
Did you use the word pouch?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
pouch products.
And I'd like to
Use
ask
both. I didn't use both.
the applicant or Mr. Carlson, either one. I'm just still curious about the link between nicotine and cancer. And is this you said earlier, is this a product that is actually reducing the occurrence of cancer in our community because people are then moving away from tobacco burning cigarettes?
Yes,
Again,
so-
if we need a
so-
decision tonight, I kind of need to know that. Otherwise, I'll take a couple weeks to go research it. But I need some thoughts on that. If it's helpful
When I looked
to,
at it, I went to the FDA. I can tell you that nicotine, while listed as I don't recall the exact wording, it is considered a biohazard.
that's in the water system and the waste you're talking about, and we're not washing it or flushing it, or
Like, you wouldn't want your kid touching it, kind
understand,
of things like that there.
sure.
But it specifically on the FDA site said nicotine is not a carcinogenic. So,
Okay, so you're answering it to the affirmative. It's
so it,
not, so the mayor, if he were sitting here, might be more comfortable that it doesn't cause cancer because tobacco's not involved and burning tobacco's not involved. That's where I'm trying to kind of get to a comfort level with this.
I mean,
That, Stephen or
Brad,
Brad, your understandings are both right. And so, going to Graham's example, if you go to the store over here and you buy, I'm sorry.
But it's not even gonna be sold here.
No, I'm giving you an example so if you go over to the convenience store right now and you buy Skull Long Cut Wintergreen, it's gonna say on the side, may cause cancer. If you buy a Zen or Velo, and there's a couple, they're the, well,
Those two products, those are nicotine products.
those are nicotine products, so they do not FDA does not have the cancer warning on them, and they're not, because of what his research has shown.
So, I mean, it does look like the FDA uses a different term for this. It looks like, so non-tobacco nicotine products, and I'm seeing novel oral nicotine delivery products. What's the difference? Or divide?
Whatever you guys are comfortable with. There's no novel oral nicotine delivery product. It refers to pouches. So we as an applicant are happy for an amendment that designates pouches, and the pouches would be what you guys passed around. So it's in surgical gauze, all of that. And then to y'all's concern and the mayor's concern, the FDA, the warnings that are required on the packaging does not require a cancer warning because of the FDA's determination in those products.
Is the purchase of this product in the United States age controlled?
Absolutely. Yep, still have to be 18. Or 21, yeah. 21.
Okay. Any more questions? I'll make a motion if when you're ready. You're reading some more stuff. Okay.
well, I mean,
And, sorry, am I allowed to ask Max a question?
The words were starting to come out of my mouth as you said that, so you had a sound, so go ahead.
And Max, correct, so just getting back to your point, we could add conditions to this.
You could, I would say, I don't know if there's enough time to like type up supplemental regulations, what sections. I would recommend that be at the next council meeting, whatever the next council meeting is. I have staff and legal has time to draft that. But tonight, I think make a recommendation on applicant's request.
I'm inclined, guys are already here and all, but I'm inclined to table this while we do a little more research on what the FDA.
I agree with you,
FDA
David.
and only gives us as advice. This is a regulated product and it sounds good on the one hand, but when I'm reading from the FDA page, it's like, I'd like a little more research between now and the time we cast a vote.
I would like
I
that just
agree,
simply
'cause
because
if
I'd
I do
like
it tonight, I
for
won't vote
legal
I
to
want-
kind of
Yeah, I don't want
us
you to
know.
feel rushed, and I think there's a little bit of hesitancy until we know what we're dealing with. None of us use it, so.
Absolutely. And on the compliance side, on like a conditional use, we're required, by operation, we're required to comply with. So I don't think we would have any, just by the nature of our business. So if that needs to be,
Does that cause your client any problem with the delay for 2 weeks?
no, we have equipment coming, so from Europe, and we want to not be able to, we picked here for the value of the location, and we're
You already
excited to be here.
Already leased the space and all that?
Yeah,
You ready to
so,
go?
yeah, and again, we're not to foist something on you, but we understand the value of bringing good businesses in, and this, I feel strongly that this is a good business. And, on the moral side, I feel like the compliance requirements that are just there, it's the nature of the material that it is, how we're gonna produce it, the standards that we, it's a multi-million-dollar business, so we're not gonna be, throwing things around and causing any problems. We wanna be great corporate citizens, and we picked y'all because you were an attractive location.
I think it will, if our mayor had questions about it, I think if we answer these questions, the public will feel better about it if they see that, and that's my thought too. That having legal come back and give us a little bit more information and us having the ability to write in what we think needs to be addressed, I think that would make us feel better and it would probably make the public feel better. I did look up nicotine under what I feel like is probably the most strictest law in the land, which is California's Prop 65. And while it is listed on Prop 65, it's only toxicity. It does not list cancer causing.
List everything is cancer causing out there.
I know, so if it's not on Prop 65, man, I mean, you could probably feed a rat that and it ain't gonna get cancer, so.
Right. And I'll make myself available between, if you guys decide to table, I'll make myself available for follow-up questions.
Thank you.
My recommendation would be, so we don't have to re-advertise the public hearing, is to just recess the public hearing until May 13th.
I'll make a motion
Don't close it.
to recess this public hearing until May 13th at 7 PM.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
It's unanimous. Thank you for coming. We appreciate you guys thinking of Stallings, and we think this will be a good company and all, but there's enough
No,
uncertainty.
no,
that,
no, we don't, I think we can answer, I think we can answer the objections. Yes, is it, dog washing? No. But is it, I think, a good business for the town and a good, and do I feel confident about our production methods? Yes.
Hey, thanks for bringing this to our way. If I heard you correctly, you directed them to our town, right?
I did.
So thank you. Yeah,
Yeah.
keep doing that. Yeah. And we'll-
I think we've covered some of the, even based off the research, we've covered how we can protect the town through just modifying the text amendment. So I think, feels like we're on a good path.
All right, thank you very
Awesome.
much.
Thank you. And if y'all have follow-up, let me pass out my cards or am I out of order?
I'm sorry, we're a little more casual than the
Ah,
city,
just making sure.
than the city of Charlotte or.
And can we keep these?
Absolutely.
Okay. Much
We
for
can
this.
even use your first name if we want.
Yeah,
Are you
may.
here?
Thank you.
Do you live here?
I live in Matthews now, but we used to live in
Okay.
Chestnut Oaks
Okay.
Oh, okay.
way back.
I saw your Charlotte Christian
Yeah. You have
sticker.
busy, or-
We just toured it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I'm an alumni and. Aaron, I don't know.
We have a junior kindergartner.
Okay, oh, good, okay. We started in K, and, yes, it's great.
We know a lot of people there, so.
All right.
My fault, yeah. Good seeing all old and new friends. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, next up, Eunice. Blair Mill Park Greenway surplus funds options.
Hello, hello, council. Good afternoon. I haven't been up here in a hot minute. This is
That was
exciting.
Melanie, so it's all her fault. That was an email from you that made the noise.
Her fault.
So,
Have your.
That is a beautiful picture.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, that was an awesome day. That was from the Greenway Grand Opening back in March. So we had about 80 people there. So it was really, really cool. I was pleasantly surprised. I thought maybe we'd get 3 or 4, that just live kind of nearby that wanted to see it. But we had a lot of people really excited about it, and it gets used every day. So we're pretty pumped. I love it. Definitely has been just such a cool investment for the town, and I'm excited that I played a little piece of it. So with that being said, I'll kind of gateway into it. We have some leftover money from the Greenway project, which is awesome. That is always a good thing. I'm not up here asking you guys to pour some more money in the pot. We actually had some left over. So what I want to do is kind of just give you the background of how this happened in the past fiscal year. I'm not going to touch on when the Greenway all started. I really just want to start come July 2023. So what we did for the budget, we put $299,000 in there for the completion of the Greenway. We officially opened it in March, as I just told you, and here's a photo again of the grand opening. And officially in April, so this month, we've closed out that project with a surplus of about $160,000. So the Parks Department saw this and was like, oh my goodness, that is a great, chunk of change that we had left over. What a cool opportunity for town council to maybe invest back in the park system. This was money that was allocated for the parks, so we thought maybe this would be a great chance to use that money, keep it there, and support other projects that are going to come through the Parks Department anyways. And why not, if the money is already allocated in the budget now, why not kind of finish some of these projects that we have that are going to eventually come through, save some money in the long run, and knock them out of the way. So with that being said, I'm going to go into some park enhancement opportunities, a little over $160,000. Like I said, aligning with our parks vision to really enhance the community's green spaces and recreational areas. What the Parks Department has done, as well with the help of the old Stallings Parks and Recreation Committee, we threw around a few ideas that we thought would stick. Like I said, just kind of in the long run what we want to do. And we broke that down into the park tennis and pickleball courts, the fencing, some new signage, as well as a master plan amendment for Blair Mill Park. So I'll kind of touch on what each of these things are. I really want this to be a conversation with you guys at the end. I'm not saying this is a must, we have to do this, we need to spend every last dime. However, I do think I would be giving the town a disservice if I did not show you some projects that really need to get finished in the next little bit. So first off, we have the tennis and pickleball courts. This might be a little bit of deja vu for you guys. We were here in the budget season. You guys allocated $15,000 towards this project. However, it just was not enough money. So we actually went through the competitive bidding process. People came out, they assessed the court, and the damage is just far more advanced than Eunice's limited knowledge of tennis and pickleball court resurfacing went. When they came out, they actually saw these cracks are much more than just surface cracks. They go a little bit deeper. I knew it was going to be an issue, however, didn't know it was the extent of the issue. And what every company that came out and saw these, there's something called a right-way package. I won't bore y'all with the tennis and pickleball resurfacing terminology. However, if we were just to do base level in-house, we could definitely do it for less than $15,000, but it would look terrible. You would probably have the public knocking at your door saying, where did this money even go? So with the additional $27,000 put towards that 15, they're actually going to do this thing called a right-way repair, and they're going to hand fill the cracks, make sure they don't come back. We get a 2-year warranty on this as well, so if any of those cracks pre-existing that they hand-filled come back, they'll come within that 2-year period and fix them. Unlike just a basic repair, saying if they did it, good luck, you're kind of on your own. So we'd be in the same situation now and just kind of throwing this money in an endless pit. So this project, given the additional funds, would let us just get up to standard with our tennis and pickleball courts. It would actually have that blue color too. The company that came in and gave us the lowest bid actually has done some work in Waynesville. We have a staff member that's seen it, so it definitely is very highly credible. Oh, yes, of course.
So I know that when this discussion was talked about some months ago, we talked about replacing the nets so that they could be raised and lowered. So does that include?
That no, sir, it does not include that in there. That is definitely something that we can talk about in-house. That's a project that wouldn't cost too much money that I'd come forward for you guys. That's as simple as just putting a crank on the end of the nets and having them lower and raised. It would just be an internal, we've seen other parks departments have some issues with those cranks because kids will just go and play with them, so they turn into a little bit of a toy. So it's something the parks department hasn't dove into necessarily right away, but something that we could research. Next is the Stallings Park fencing. So this fence, I want to make very clear, it's not the pretty, fun black one that you see when you're driving by the road. This is the one in the back that's connected to Parkside. So we actually have 2 different types of fencings that perimeter the park as it is now. We have kind of that chain link fence that leads into that natural wooden fence. It's just old age. You can see it doesn't look the best. It's starting to fall down. It's had some tree damage. Definitely not the prettiest thing back there. We also have had the HOA president come email me, call me, complaining about the fence. It's definitely gotten worse over the course of, I would say, probably the last month or 2, just with storms, tree limbs falling down, and we've done the best we could to repair it in-house. However, that is definitely not a long-term fix. And with this surplus of funds, we thought, wow, this might be a really cool project to go ahead and knock out, especially before the 50th coming up, to really elevate the look of the park. So what we decided to kind of go with was the 6-foot white vinyl privacy fence. You might look at it and say, why didn't they want to do wood? Why didn't they want to do the black chain link? So this 6-foot white privacy fence will actually be a little bit of a sound barrier for that community. We've also gotten some pushback when we do events. We don't really ever go past 9 p.m. However, it's just something that it would be a courtesy to Parkside. It would match what they already have back there anyways. Also, it would help with any graffiti that was put on there. We could easily remove it, opposed to a wooden fence would take a little bit more time and definitely more expensive to replace. This is something that staff could take care of internally, routinely clean it, make sure that nothing's on it. And also, it'll delineate the boundaries of the park. Right now, it kind of, you don't know what side is Parkside, what side's the park. This will help really just set that standard and give that community as well as park patrons kind of a line, if that makes sense. And that project would be $31,000. That includes ripping out the old fence and replacing it with the 6-foot vinyl privacy fence that goes all the way across the back. So we wouldn't have any more of a switch of the type of fencing that's currently back there.
And they would know they can't come back there and attach things to it or whatnot.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Any other questions about the park fence? I can keep moving along. All right.
But it would still have an opening to Parkside.
Yes, sir. It still would have an opening. We don't want to close them off. You know, we want everyone to come and enjoy the park. That is definitely not the purpose of this. However, we do want to respect, you know, that neighborhood's privacy as well. Not everyone wants a park in the backyard. I would love it, but we totally understand. So next, we have the Stallings Park signage. So this is something that, again, it's not like a, oh my goodness, I'm going to die without this. However, what a cool opportunity to really start matching our master plan, get rid of the semi-temporary sign that is currently in front of the park, and replace it with our Greenway master plan signage. So what we're thinking for this is getting a new entrance sign, Stallings Municipal Park, right out front, as well as getting a park entrance sign for the back on Parkside, as well as a few wayfinding signs throughout the park. So that would look about $17,000. That would include install, the signs being made. And as you can see on the bottom right, that park entrance sign is already at Blair Mill Park when you're coming into like the Fair Oaks section of it. So that's already back there. We know they've done great work for us in the past. So just definitely another really great option to match our master plan and what we've already put into Blair Mill Park with the Greenway segment. And this last one, this is probably the funkiest one to kind of come y'all's way. It might be a little bit out of the blue. When you see master plan amendment, you kind of get like, ooh, a little nervous. I know it's kind of a big switch up from the other park projects. This is probably the biggest investment, I would say, out of the four, just because of how big of an impact this project would have for the town of Stallings. So our current Greenway Master Plan was adopted in 2019 by that council. However, it's good practice to get a new plan every 5 to 10 years. I'm not up here telling you guys, hey, we need a whole entire new Greenway Master Plan, just an amendment for Blair Mill Park specifically. Since this money was allocated to Blair Mill Park, you know, that section, that Greenway, what a cool opportunity it would be to invest some of this surplus money back to that section of town. So the Blair Mill Park, I think it's important for you guys to see just what I'm talking about when I say how important it is, the town's growth of this area within the next few years. So what I've done is this is a map. It has Blair Mill Park in blue, and that circle around it is a 1 mile radius of the park. Everything that's highlighted in black with the shaded sections, that is Stallings specific. So there's other areas inside that circle that is within that 1 mile, but I didn't pull any of the data from that. They're not Stallings. You know, we still love them, but Stallings is the best. We choose them. So that's what I wanted to focus on. So right now we have 1,194 Stallings residential units in that 1 mile radius. And coming, we have 1,162 residential units that have already been approved by council to move forward with. So I kind of listed those projects out. I put where they were, the status. Max, you know, he is the guru of all thing town projects if we really want to dive into what's coming. However, I wanted y'all to see that it's almost 100% increase for that side of town. So this park is going to have almost 2,500 residential units that can walk, bike, and that's not even just the whole town of Stallings. That's just in that 1 mile circle. So I think that's a huge deal. The town has a really cool opportunity to do something awesome on this plot of land. And I think with the master plan that we have currently, it will not serve this mass residential unit that you guys have coming into that area. So a little bit about Blair Mill Park, if you guys are unfamiliar. It is 24.2 acres. That is almost unheard of. Just to kind of put it in perspective, Stallings Municipal Park is a little over 9 acres. So this thing is huge. This is going to be thin and far between to find something of this capacity, of this size land to really do something cool with. Right now, we have bathrooms on site. We have a playground that was recently put out there. We have 2 parking lots, so you can park on the upside, the downside, if y'all are familiar with that. Some picnic tables and benches, and then also an 18-hole disc golf course is what is currently on Blair Mill Park's site. So what I want to do is show you what the current plan is. I don't know if y'all have ever seen this. Like I said, this was adopted in 2019. However, our current master plan actually gets rid of the disc golf course, so that's not included. There's no playground equipment on this plan, and there's no true bike and nature trails that would really tie into the Greenway. You can see the trails that are around, so that, yes, there are trails. However, they're concrete. We don't think it really ties into the true feeling of what we want out at Blair Mill Park. And also just the fact that, you know, we just put a playground on there that did not coincide with our master plan. So what we have right now, if we were to go out, seek funding, start doing these projects, I don't think it would be in council's best interest to rip out something that we just put in there that was, you know, a good chunk of change for the town. So what the Parks Department is recommending is getting this new plan to include the disc golf course. We don't want to get rid of that. That is definitely not in our best interest. We have a ton of people that come out there. If you live on that side of town, as you know, that park doesn't have much to offer but the playground and the disc golf course, and it's always busy. It's used every single day. Porter Ridge High School actually uses it as their home disc golf club course. So if we got rid of it, that definitely would be a disservice to the local high school. Also, we just want to put a lot more amenities out there to the public. Like I said, you have a lot of units that are going to be able to walk there within a mile, so why would you not want to give them something to do as they are leisurely recreating, accommodate multiple ages? The current plan, as you saw, had a lot of open space. It accommodates for dog parks and just leaves a lot of grass. We want to utilize all that area and try to make it as memorable as we can. We really want to give that side of town and experience, because right now, this side of town has Stallings Municipal Park. The north side doesn't really have a park that they can call home. Also, it'll be a major trailhead for connecting communities. As you guys know, we just completed this segment. That's going to go all the way to Ottawa Market. However, it'll also be part of the central spine. And think of that as connecting all the way from Blair Mill Park to the elementary school to eventually downtown Stallings. So it's an opportunity to really do something awesome to connect everybody. And when y'all amend a plan and we have something that's kind of, think of this as the bones of what we want the future to look like, we can start seeking more grant funding. Think of the PARTIF grant. If y'all are unfamiliar with that, it's the Parks and Recreation Trust Fund. If y'all have seen what Monroe has done recently, they were awarded the grant for Belk Tonawanda Park to do their splash pad. And actually, the PARTIF grant is what helped build Stallings Municipal Park as well. And also another cool one that I definitely could see us getting money for is the Land Water Conservation Fund, especially with Crooked Creek that runs through the park that feeds into the Rocky River. It's a great educational piece that the town could really play off of. That project would be $30,000, so like I said, it's still a good chunk of change, and I want this to be a conversation for you guys. However, the sooner we do this, the better, because these people aren't going anywhere. They're coming to this side of town, they're moving, they're growing, and why would you not want to go ahead and have a plan in place that we might not start breaking construction next year, however, we're prepared to do so when that time comes. So here's just a summary of the enhancement opportunities that I've talked about. I kind of wanted to put it all together so you guys can see it. The total cost would be a little over $100,000. However, that would still give us a remaining surplus, about $55,000 that we'll just give back graciously and not touch. Woohoo, so we're still saving money. However, like I said, I really want this to be a conversation from you guys. I'm not here saying we have to do this today, but I do think that all these things would serve the town while there still is the money in the budget currently to do so. Yeah.
I'll go. So first off, nothing on 1 through 3. I'm in favor of that. I guess what stood out to me was 30,000 for the plan. Like, where's that money going? And then you mentioned that it's already, what we have there right now doesn't fit the plan. I guess I'm just trying to understand, like, what's the impact of that? Like, we don't ever update the plan, and we have these items that don't fit the plan. I mean,
And that it kind of just happens, you know, over time. Council comes in, they have different priorities, things change. You try to follow the plan as best of your abilities. But I do recall at that time a playground for that side of town was super important. And I believe the board that was there that approved the master plan, if we're being honest, probably didn't phone in on Blair Mill Park. When you do this, a big master plan, you get a document that's about 145 pages. So I think maybe the town was more interested in the greenway trails and how that was mapped out. However, didn't fully look at Blair Mill Park. What's on the master plan, that's just like an aerial view of, oh, this is what could happen. However, you might want to dive in deeper to this at a later time. And we've kind of reached that later time.
Was that 2019 plan the one that included the community center that was massive?
No, sir.
When was that one? Prior? That's one I remember. And that was too big. Took away all the green space.
Yeah.
I don't remember anything doing away with the disc golf course, though.
This is, like I said, the current plan.
So
Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
remember that one either, but.
I'm like, well, that's news to me, but, did you have another one?
well, I guess, where's the 30,000 going?
Yeah, so the 30,000, we'll have to go through the bidding process again as well for this, because this is going to be something that's a little more detailed than just a picture on a map. It's going to include like a feasibility study, what could happen out there, how much stuff you guys want to put. It's going to include taking surveys to really assess what that side of town needs. So think of it, have you ever been through a master plan process or anything like that?
Fortunately, not.
So it's a little extensive, I would say. I've only ever been through one. They're really fun. However, it's a lot of data collection. So that's truly where all this money goes into, I would say, for them to come back, put this plan together, and really do something that's thoughtful, intentional, because you don't want to put all this money into something and say, is this even going to be possible for that area? Do we even want to do something like this? It would take all of y'all's feedback into consideration.
I guess where I was going the first time is, we already have this stuff there. So I'm just trying to figure out, like, why are we developing a plan for something that's already there? We're not pulling it out tomorrow. You know, and I think we spend a lot on consultants. So I guess, like, everything else I can see, it's a need. We definitely need a fence, in my opinion. We need the tennis courts. Going to consultants to tell them, hey, put on some paper a disc golf course, which
Right.
already exists. I don't see the need for that. And is it?
Right.
You mentioned grant funding. Do
Exactly.
we need to submit these plans?
Yes, sir. So that's what I was going to kind of touch on. So you have to look at this as more as an investment to the future of the town. You know, all the other projects that I've listed, it's going to be almost like an instant gratification, if probably the best way to put it. You're going to change this stuff, people are instantly going to know that you did it, and they're going to be really happy. This is going to be something that if you start laying the groundwork now, we could almost piece this park together, save money, apply for those grants. It's not going to be something that, okay, Blair Mill Park plan is done, we're going to do it all at once. It's going to give us kind of a roadmap on, okay, maybe we want to do this section right now, we want to apply for grant funding, and we want to save money. If you guys were wanting to do something at Blair Mill Park and said, hey, Eunice, we want you to put in a dog park, we want you to do something that incorporates the river, I could do that, and I could come back and ask you guys for a lot of money. However, it would be hard to seek grant funding for those projects when you could put the money towards this, and they could listen to y'all's thoughts and incorporate those. Yeah.
So to add on to that, the 2 grants you mentioned, how much would those be?
So the Land Water Conservancy Fund, I think that is up to $250,000. I could misspeak on that, and it's matching funds. And Pardiff is up to $500,000, and it's matching funds. So what y'all put in, they would match up to that amount.
250, and you said
$500,000 for the Pardiff.
150,000, okay.
And that's the
150,000
max, yes.
That's
So you
the
could do
max.
smaller projects within that.
I just wanted a supplemental question. What do we get? I mean, you said it's more than an overlay. What do we actually get for that 30 grand?
Yeah, so you would get the data of what that side of town needs, what they would want, what the Stallings community is looking for. Like I said, the feasibility study, what could actually happen. This could be as advanced or as limited as you want. I would say the $30,000 is going to get you everything, pricing. It's going to list out what these items would cost when you do it, when to start it. They're also going to help give us a list of grants that we could apply for. So I would say at the most, this is what that would include. However, I could always come back and give you a breakdown of exactly. I don't want to misspeak and tell you something that is included that might not. However, I don't want to do it a disjustice, and it might be something on there that you're like, wow, we really would like this.
So effectively, they would be designing the park down to the nitty-gritty, and then we could implement bits and pieces of it in phases.
Exactly.
Okay.
Last question on this.
Yeah, of
So
course.
It's 26 acres? Or
So
something like
it's,
that?
yeah, 24, yeah.
How much of it already has something on it?
So this piece right here, it has this parking lot, a little sliver of this parking lot, and then the disc golf course.
Well, okay. I guess I just don't, how much is left to develop? Because that's the other point, like, if we can't add anything more, then what's the point in going to get a grant because you're not adding it?
Yeah. So what we're currently doing in-house is the disc golf course actually goes across the property, so it'd be hard to develop. We're moving that into the wooded area, and then all you're left with is one playground up here, parking lot here, and then you have all of this opportunity
But
to do something with.
a lot of that's floodplain.
So right here is floodplain, where you
Yeah,
see
that
the
whole
Crooked
center,
Creek.
It's not like you can connect both ends of the park easily.
They're connected currently with a sidewalk.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So you gotta go out to the street to do that. It's not like that, all that middle section there can be developed into anything. It's two separate, distinct, developable parcels.
Right. And if that's something that you wanted, a new plan could have a bridge or a way to connect the properties.
We just spent millions of dollars on a greenway through a floodway. What do you mean? We can't,
Yeah. So there's going to be a future Greenway connection here
That's what it's for.
to go on the other side. So,
I meant developable.
Well, yeah,
Put a building in the middle there. Of
course not, no.
Something, but, or even a play field.
no.
So what, we have, the whole master plan for the whole town.
of course.
What percentage would you say this, that you're looking for of the master plan? Like 10%, 2%?
Oh, wow. A percentage? Maybe Max could help me with that. She asked, and please speak over me if I am wrong. If the master plan was a pie, how big would the slice be? Yeah.
I think,
The Blair Mill is what we're
Blair Mill,
looking
yeah.
to revise.
I would say the plan itself doesn't need to be revised. I would suggest a bridge document. Instead of amending what's currently there, adding to it, to a bridge document, which would probably be like 10% of the total plan.
Okay.
That's what I was kind of thinking and leaning towards. So, I don't know if that's what you want to use, but that's what I was.
Yeah, no, I think that's a great question to see kind of the weight, Stallings isn't the biggest place in the world, however, so you look at these parks and they're gonna be really important for you guys because there's gonna be a day where we're gonna run out of green space, so we wanna make sure we're using it wisely, so I appreciate all questions.
I like most of these, and I get the value of the plan. My only concern is just, these are not restricted funds, they're unrestricted. So while we think they should go back into the park, and I do love the work you're doing, and I probably would be in favor of many of these, just be aware, we're in a budget season, raising taxes, $150,000 just freed up. What do we do with it? Should we just include this in our budget conversation in a couple weeks?
I agree.
And we may end up doing, I like the pickleball course, I like the signage, I just don't know that I'm ready to decide tonight on this because
Needs
of
to be
the bigger
discussed,
picture.
but I think it'd be best to put this in with the budget discussion and whenever that next one is. Well, it's next on the agenda, almost.
So it is unrestricted? I thought it was limited to being in the parks.
It's part of their
Yeah, that's a good question. Thank you, Councilmember Ayers. So a portion of the budget for the Blair Mill Park Greenway was restricted as fee in lieu of funds. However, typically when we have a project that's partially restricted funds and partially unrestricted, we spend the restricted funds first, and that's what we did here. So the funds that are remaining that we're talking about here are unrestricted.
Okay. And I think you told me that today, but I just wanted that on record. Thank you.
It's okay. I told you, we talk a lot. So I mean that in the way that I tell you a lot, so imagine if you don't remember anything, it's okay.
I would also,
Does that surprise you?
I would also like to add, I've mentioned this several times, a safety barrier fence across the greenway at the road, Stevens Mill Road, similar to what they have on the greenway or park entrance at Matthews on John Street, where they're like this, and you can't, as a little kid zipping along in front of his parents on his little bike or whatever he's doing, can't go straight out into the street. He's got to zigzag, and that'll slow him down. I'm just so afraid of a little kid. I saw a little kid doing it. I mean, not there, but further in, and it's like,
Get
parents can't
nervous.
stop 'em.
Yeah, that's definitely something we could look
I'd
into.
like to see us include that in one of your extras there.
Along those same safety lines, I get nervous where the playground is, and it's close to the road, fairly close to the road, and, maybe put some kind of a barrier there, a 2-year-old just,
At Blair Mill Park? I just want to make sure.
yes.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, we can definitely look at some options for that as well.
So I'll just say I'm with Mr. Richardson, Councilmember Richardson. But I also just want to add on, thank you
Oh, of course.
for
Oh
coming
my
under
gosh, of
budget.
course,
And I
yeah.
also don't want you to walk away feeling
No,
like
yeah.
defeated. Or because, we've mentioned this before, saving saving is a priority and, bring this back and definitely we want to make our parks better and we don't want you to
Yeah.
feel like you've saved money and you're not getting anything.
No, that's
back
okay.
for it.
I appreciate that. No, this is, like I said, you guys all have a voice and opinion. That's why I'm here. I mean, y'all have your right to speak. That's what I wanted. I wanted to be a conversation. And if y'all see the need for something, that's what I'm here for. I mean, please reach out if there's anything park related that you think we're missing. That's my job. So I'm just glad I keep on doing it. So thank you.
Is our disc golf course, a level at which tournaments happen? Is it competitive? Is it recreational? It's a fairly big sport now.
Yeah.
Do we ever host events? Are we on a circuit? Could we ever be? Is it big enough? Do we know much about that as a tourist attraction or a amateur sporting event kind of thing?
Yeah, so we currently work with Charlotte Disc Golf Course, so that's actually who helped build the course back in 2012. We still have maintained that relationship, which has been awesome. And when we reroute the course, like I told you, he actually came out and planned a better way to do it as we do want to move forward, develop this area someday that we can do that. So it definitely is more tailored towards beginners, but he says it's perfect because if you're getting new to the sport, this is one of the only disc golf courses you could come to and truly start to learn. So if you guys haven't played, I definitely suggest going out there. It's pretty awesome.
You have frisbees?
Yep. Yes, sir.
They're called.
Yes, sir. Disc. Yeah, be careful. But yes, we have some discs, so it's fun.
To summarize, what I'm hearing and sensing is that the board is comfortable with the first three items, approving those and moving forward. The tennis court repair, adding the fence along the back of Stallings Municipal Park, as well as adding the signage. The board would like to move to budget discussions, the Blair Mill Park master plan, as well as getting costs for the safety fencing by Blair Mill Park Greenway Crossing, as well as the fencing around the playground at Blair Mill Park. Would that be a correct understanding?
How was
The
it?
only thing that we'd be moving to the budget, of the budget, is the master plan amendment. Is that what you're saying? The
That's what I
rest of
heard.
them-
Please correct me if I misheard that. Yes, ma'am.
I think I heard you add 2 pieces of fencing, safety fencing on the greenway and
Yep.
safety
So
fencing
we've
on the
got
playground.
get costs for those and bring them back. I think you're interested in them is what I heard. You want to hear the costs and bring those back. So it'd be the safety fencing by the Blair Mill Park Greenway Crossing, as well as the fencing around the playground at Blair Mill Park.
Well, not to be the Grinch, I was thinking the whole category would just be put on hold as part of the budget discussion, which could just be a couple weeks from now, not just the plan amendment.
Okay.
That's what I was voicing, and happy to be wrong.
That's how I took it. Okay, so we'll just move it all to budget discussion.
But
That fair?
include what you just said, though, that budget discussion rather than tonight.
Okay.
Sorry, is a tennis court, is that, we have firm bids or?
Yes, sir.
Are they time sensitive?
So depending on the time that we want to get it reconstructed, yes. If y'all move forward with agreeing to that tonight, the next council meeting, we would have to, Jesse, tell me if I'm wrong, have to amend the budget and they'd have to approve that, correct, before moving forward with that, or could that happen?
If that's in that capital outlay line, no, we would just need approval.
And if, say, you guys did say, woohoo, we want to move forward with that today, get that going, that project could start as early as end of August, September. But it is time sensitive because it has to be done under a certain degree temperature. If temperatures drop below, I think it's 45 degrees, they cannot resurface the court.
Okay. To summarize, so the 4 items that Ms. Donnelly brought up here, we'll move those to budget discussions, as well as part of those budget discussions, getting costs for safety fencing for Blair Mill Park Greenway Crossing and fencing around the Blair Mill Park playground. We'll bring those to you, those last 2, as soon as we get those. It may be part of the next budget discussion. It may take a little longer. We gotta see.
But to understand, this money is already in the parks budget for this year.
That's right. That's why we brought it up, is because it's in the current year's budget.
Okay. So help me out, Brad, you're thinking to offset next year's budget with this? Or-
Well, if you think about it, that means Miss Donnelly's, that's your last name, right?
Yes, sir.
And you got married.
Proudly.
Okay. Miss Donnelly Eunice's budget, all things, would throw $160,000 into surplus funds at the end of the budget year, if not spent between now and then, which adds to surplus, which is available for town expenses.
Okay.
That's the kind of thinking. And we may in 2 weeks say, this is great, let's do it. I just didn't know that we were ready, and especially with the mayor not being here too. This is saving money in a year we're raising taxes, or the manager's recommended budget is raising taxes. I just thought we ought to be a little more sensitive to that. And I like all these projects, I should say too.
Yeah.
And we're gonna spend the money on them at some point, so Miss Donnelly makes a great point. Maybe it's better to do it now. I'm not opposed to doing that, but I think we ought to maybe pause a week or two. That's what I'd say.
Okay.
What's the pleasure of the council?
So,
That was my pleasure, just to,
Is that a motion?
do I need a motion to do anything tonight? We're not approving any
That
funds.
is a consensus. Stephen, consensus, yes or no?
well, no, the budget meeting is not solidified at the moment.
It will be if we can get to it.
Okay, if we get there, yeah.
Yes.
So what I'll do then is the notable items list that we do each budget year, it's got the listing of kind of the big new stuff, the big capital items, things that we think will be discussion points. It's not the staplers or the paper that we buy every year. It's the big picture stuff, right? So the board can focus on those items. I'll add these items to that list so y'all can consider these holistically with everything else.
But there is budget there for this year, so.
That's right.
Consensus is to do that. Next up,
It's me again.
you're there.
What's up? Still here. Thank y'all for everything and listening. I appreciate it.
Right,
I'm
surprises.
nervous to click it.
Oh,
Like-
it's okay, it's okay. You can click that. Are you guys ready?
I feel like we need a drum roll.
Are you gonna do it? Are you gonna do a drum roll or what? Come on, you gotta get excited. Okay. So, Eunice and I are here to show you the direction that we have been discussing for all of the 50th celebration activities, okay? So that first and foremost, we're just here to kind of show you a hint of what we're doing. And the types of events and that type of things, we still have time to tweak, okay? We just wanted to show you the direction that we're going. What we're mainly here tonight is to unveil to you the logo for Stallings' 50th anniversary. The reason that is so important is because if we have that now and we get your nod of approval now with that, we can start actually doing things with that logo to prepare. This is all about being prepared in every way. So some of you may know that a creation of a logo from an actual marketing firm or anybody is very expensive. And it's something that, given our budget, it's not something that we felt we should spend money on. And also in creating a logo, it's important that even if you create a variation of a logo, that it's still your logo. You don't want to lose the recognition or the credibility that we have with our logo while trying to emphasize something else. So you want to make sure that a logo for an event still does a nod to your existing logo. So given all of that, we did that in-house. And with the great artistic abilities of the lady sitting beside me.
You should have told them after.
It better not be the 50th anniversary blue box.
It is, that's it. Okay.
That's what I did. Click art.
So with Eunice's artistic creativity and us going back and forth with some schemes, we came up with an idea.
Is there a train involved?
There's no train, I'm sorry, Stephen. There's no train. But as you may or may not know, a 50th anniversary is your golden anniversary. So the traditional gift for a 50th anniversary is gold, if you look it up. So your 50th is your golden anniversary. Also, fun fact, you may or may not know, going through Stallings is the Carolina Slate Belt, which before the Civil War were 2 gold mines. So given that nod to history, and given that it is our 50th golden anniversary, we present to you the Stallings 50th anniversary logo that we hope you like. As you can see, we added the 5 to it. It doesn't come very good on the screen. So think Wake Forest University. I'm sorry if you don't like it, but think that gold and black, not yellow. It just doesn't translate well on these screens. Think the gold and black of Wake Forest University. We also added the established in 1975. And when you see this logo for the year 2025, every time you see a Stallings logo, it will be this, black and gold. Everything we do in our banners, in our flags, on our emails, on our correspondence here in this council, everything will be black and gold. So with that, we wanted to show you what we were thinking about for the fun activities. We wanted to nod to everyone. We wanted to have a nod to family. We wanted to have a nod to the formalness of an anniversary of a town. We wanted to have a nod to fitness, to fun. So we're doing that in the way of 4 events. So you're going to have a quarterly event all year long. The first event will be in March, where the Parks and Rec Department will do We Found Gold at the End of the Rainbow. Every event will give a nod to our golden anniversary. It's a St. Patrick's Day celebration where there will be hidden gold coins. I won't divulge all of Parks and Rec's fun time with that, but that will be our nod. Our first quarterly event in March will be the gold shenanigans for our St. Patrick's Day celebration. In June, we will have a very formal event here before a council meeting on June 23rd, 2025. It will be a formal reception, elevated reception in the lobby. It will give a nod to our history. We will adopt a formal proclamation for our 50th anniversary, and we will serve the traditional lemonade and strawberry dessert that was served as a part of the original Stallings Fest. This is where we will invite dignitaries of our county, of our state even if you wanted to. This is the elevated function that we will give the formal nod of our anniversary. And then in December, we will have the golden anniversary Christmas in the park. As luck would have it, Eunice's department needs to upgrade all of the ornaments we have right now because they're old and it's time to switch them out. So guess what all the ornaments will be on the tree? Gold.
Bingo.
All the ornaments will be gold. There will be new tree panels around the tree, which we'll talk about in a minute. And there will also be all the Fit 50 winners will be announced, which again, we will talk about in a minute. Because as you can see, this is 3 quarters, but we're missing one quarter. That is usually when we do Stallings Fest. But this year, or I should say in the year 2025, there will be no Stallings Fest. It will be 50 Fest. And it will be 3 days of what you guys know of as Stallings Fest. So on Friday, we will kick off with a community picnic, the 50 Fest kickoff. It will have live music, you will have your beer garden. We will also have an art contest, which we'll talk about in a minute. There will be t-shirt giveaways, and that's when we kick off the Fit 50. Everyone can participate. You will run, walk, bike 50 miles in the park, or anywhere actually, beginning that Friday of 50 Fest. And you have until Christmas to do it. If you complete it, you get your reward at the Christmas Golden Christmas. The Saturday of 50 Fest is what you guys know as Stallings Fest, longer event hours, more elevated version of the traditional fest. And Sunday is part 2 of the traditional Stallings Fest with a car show by the police department and a 1975 meter race in the park where you can register beforehand and get a gold medallion when you finish the race. The exciting part about this too is that on that Friday, the art contest winners, Eunice and I are going to meet with Stallings Elementary this summer. We are going to get their kids involved in an art contest. Their teachers or whoever they choose will pick the winner from each grade level. Then you guys get to pick the winner overall. Their artwork will be displayed in our lobby during our formal June reception. It will be displayed from then until 50 Fest. And the overall winner, their design will be on the t-shirts on the back that are given away at at 50 Fest. At 50 Fest. So we're getting the school involved there, the community involved, and it's 3 full days of our celebration. So that's the direction we're headed. Few extras, and I nodded to it. Everything we print in 2025, whether it's on our website, whether it's our social media, whether it's employees' email signature lines, we'll have our 50th logo. We've already talked to our website developer. The homepage will be changed to Stallings 50th anniversary, black and gold. We will have logo items available to staff and council so that you can help promote this all year long. Those will be available in January 2025, so we have them all year long. And we will have new flags in the park. Parks already needs to order them. Coincides again with the 50th. We will have flags out front. We will have a new flag on the flagpole. You guys will have an elevated banner in here. Everywhere you look will be black and gold. 50th anniversary. So, are you guys ready to celebrate? Does that get too excited?
I can feel the excitement.
So, again, there's always things that we can tweak as far as the events go. Tonight, we wanted to know if you guys will give us the nod for the logo. Great, that's all we needed. It's almost time to party.
I like that 5-0 especially.
Yes. So we'll either be using the full logo there that you see. Sometimes it's more appropriate to have a smaller logo, kind of like we just use the medallion sometimes now. When we do that, we'll use just the 5 with the 5 in the medallion. And then in some of Eunice's longer elongated banners that she'll be using in the park, we'll have the One Town 50 Years with the logo.
Yeah, think of like your typical street banner that you see in downtown Matthews. We're transitioning to that in the park to get some more branding. So this was a perfect opportunity to kind of knock that out. So, yeah, I'm excited. I think it's going to look
And
really
we're
good.
open to any suggestions, anything else you guys want to add. Mainly tonight, it's just the logo, and then we can tweak everything else.
Any chance you could put vinyl stickers on some of all of our police cars?
On police cars?
All of our staff cars.
We have a long list of items that we hope to purchase with some leftover funds, that we actually can utilize things that we were already gonna buy anyway, and we can just change it to the logo. So if we can get the nod for the logo now, we can go ahead and do that.
Is that unanimous consent?
Yeah, you just need a consent or a vote?
Yeah, just if you tell us, yes, you were good with, this is the main logo, then Eunice and I will hit the ground running.
Go with.
Have fun.
Perfect.
All right,
Awesome.
thank
That's all we
you.
needed.
That's all we needed. Thank you so much.
You.
I don't know if you need to get out of
All
this.
right, next up, really, who would have guessed we'd still be here at 20 till 9? Alex, optional budget meeting. Or 2.
And one of the nicotine pouches, I need this.
Those have been handled by everybody.
Thank you, Mr. Scholl, and I'm, with this, I was just blown away by Ms. Nichols and Ms. Donnelly's efforts on there. It's very exciting. That's the 3rd time I've heard that presentation, and I get excited every time, you know.
You look excited.
So I want to thank everybody on the board for your participation and being part of the budget process thus far. We started earlier this year.
We had an option not to?
Is that always an option not to, I guess?
Remind me.
And because we knew this year would be an especially challenging year. So we started earlier, we've had more meetings. So I want to thank the board. I also want to thank our staff for all the work that y'all have done ahead of time. And let me show you where we're at and need some direction on the amount of meetings we do moving forward. We could do 0 meetings, we could do a lot more meetings. It's really up to you. So we've gotten the budget direction we got from the board, big picture. We use that to craft a budget, which we've now given to you as of Friday. So we're on schedule. And you can see in May, we had a series of optional budget meetings that we could have. I know from our conversation that you want to have at least one. We had them set up based on the department breakdowns. What I might suggest is to maybe plan to have the first 2, and instead of going department by department, because I've heard, hey, maybe we don't want to have all these meetings. We want to be as efficient as possibly. Just go on the notable items list and just start talking about the big picture stuff, the stuff that the board has already identified as the things that you'd like to discuss via that list. So that'd be my suggestion. Another option would be to say, no, we're comfortable with the budget as is. Let's just skip the May meetings and move forward. We'll have the budget hearing, and then we'll make a decision on the budget on June. Or we could say we want to meet every chance we can get in May, basically, with the additional budget meetings. So those are your options. Based on what I've heard, my recommendation would be to plan on meeting on May the 6th and May the 13th and work through the notable items list, including the items that were added tonight from the Parks Group.
Why wouldn't we just say, these meetings are on the calendar, and if we get through the first 2, we can cancel the other 2? Why wouldn't we approach it like that there?
You can very well approach it like that, sir.
What's the pleasure? I think we're all, I'm in agreement. Sounds like you are. I don't want to speak for everyone else, but at least 2 are probably needed. I like Stephen's idea. I like Alex's idea. Either way.
Okay. What we'll do is we'll go ahead and advertise for all of them, and then the board can meet as much or as little as you like to where you get comfortable to make a budget decision.
Everybody good with that? Graham, you got it?
No.
Okay.
What time would you like these meetings to be at? Keep in mind the 13th and the 28th are before council meetings, so you probably want to start those earlier. But the other ones, the 6th, the 20th, you could start those a little later. I know we got some feedback that the 5:30 start dates were a little rough. I think to make it work, you're probably going to have to do 5:30 on the 13th and 28th, but on the 6th and the 20th, you could probably start a little later and be okay. So what I might suggest is doing 5:30 on the 13th and the 28th, and 6 o'clock on the 6th and the 20th. How does that sound?
Sounds good.
Okay.
Good. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Melanie, do you remember, have the closed session number ready?
Need a motion to go into closed session pursuant to North Carolina General Statute 143-11A, 3, and 6.
So moved.
Adding Ms. Nichols, myself, Ms. Cox, and Ms. Williams, please.
So moved.
And Chief Franks, excuse me. I'm sorry. Yeah.
This one.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, that's unanimous. Closed session it is.
Google Translate this thing.